Wow, where are my Wings of Fire fans today? A show of hands, is there anyone here who has read every single Wings of Fire book? Is there anyone here who's read every single Wings of Fire book more than once? Oh my goodness. Well, welcome everyone to the 2022 National Book Festival. Before we begin, I just want to take a moment to thank all of our sponsors who helped make this event possible. And I hope that you've all enjoyed the in-person return of the festival and have been inspired by the many incredible guests that we've had here today. My name is Catherine Fravel, and I am a school librarian for DC Public Schools. I work at an elementary school where I know that many of my students are going to be thrilled to hear about the guests that I'm with here today. So I am here with author and fantasy extraordinaire Tui T. Sutherland. Tui is the brilliant mind behind the Menagerie trilogy, the Pet Trouble series, and the reason that we're all here today, the author of the best-selling Wings of Fire book series and graphic novels. Today we're celebrating Dragonkind Unite, 10 years of Wings of Fire adventures, and Tui's thrilling conclusion to the Lost Continent Prophecy, the 15th book, The Flames of Hope. There will be some time at the end of our session to ask a few questions from the audience. And for anyone who wants to meet with Tui, please be sure to visit book signing line number 2 in Hall C from 6 to 7 tonight, where she'll be signing copies of The Flames of Hope. So Tui, welcome.
Hi, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here, you guys. Thank you all for coming, and thank you to the festival.
Well, we're here celebrating a decade of Wings of Fire. Has this series evolved in ways that surprise you? When you set out to write these books, did you have this 15th book in mind?
Oh, no, not at all. I was planning 5 books from the beginning. That was where I was initially thinking. I had the 5 main characters and the prophecy. I did not know how book 5 was going to end or how I was going to resolve the prophecy, but I did know who was going to have each book and what order they would go in. And it wasn't until I was writing book 5 that we started talking about, could we do 5 more? And then same thing as I was writing books 9 and 10, we were like, maybe we could do 5 more. And so no, I did not. I mean, I'm so thrilled I've gotten to keep writing it for this long and made all these books. It's really exciting to see them all lined up and be like, oh, look what I did. Yeah, I think, and also it's funny because I actually turned in the outline for the first 5 books about a week before my son was born, and now he's taller than me. And I was like, wow, okay, that really makes time feel like it's passed. But yeah, so 15 books and 2 kids. That's what I've accomplished in the last 10 years, 12 years. They're here, so I have to shout them out extra much, more than I usually do.
Oh, I love that. Well, I loved reading Flames of Hope, and I particularly loved meeting Luna, who is a really justice-driven, forward-thinking, and compassionate dragon. I was wondering, when you were thinking of this character, was there someone or something in your life that inspired Luna?
Oh, good question. I always try to give each of my characters a little piece of me that I can connect to, so I feel strongly about the character all the way through the story. With Luna, it was a little tricky because when I started books 11 through 15, The Lost Continent Prophecy, I knew very clearly who the first 3 dragons were going to be. I knew kind of what I was going for, especially in the contrast between Blue and Sendu, right? Blue is the one who's well, let's try to understand people and let's be empathetic, and I think that's really important. But then you also have to have the Sendus of the world who are yeah, but we have to fight evil. We have to resist the bad guys sometimes. We can't just understand them. And so, but the tension between the 2 of them was really important to the themes that I was trying to explore with these 5 books. So I had them really clearly in my head, and then Cricket is sort of the one in the middle who's sort of realizing stuff about her world that she never knew before, right? It's sort of discovering it and then broadcasting it. It's her job. She's she's a truth teller. And so then I got to books 14 and 15, and with book 14, I knew we were coming to the other continent again, the first continent, and that it was sort of a story about being afraid of outsiders, right? So I thought Snowfall was the perfect one for that because she is just wants to hide in her palace, and it's all about her fear and her anxiety, right? And so in the middle of the pandemic, it wasn't too hard to tap into that. But also she needed to grow past that. That was the whole point of book 14 was they're still dragons. They're still just like you. There's something to connect to about each of them. And so she's learning empathy over the course of that book. And so book 15, I was like, how do I bring it all together? How do I tie all these sort of important themes into one character? And so with Luna, I was thinking about, she's someone who, at the beginning of book 11, basically what you know about her is that she has noticed much more of the problems in the world than Blue has. And so she wants to fix them. And she can't really talk to Blue about it because every time she's like, there's a problem, we should fix it. He's like, oh, I'm sure that the mean guard was just having a bad day. And she's like, yeah, but we still, systematic oppression, let's do something. And so I knew that about her. But I also knew that she hadn't succeeded at doing anything yet. So book 15 is a lot about sort of that journey for her. I know that there are problems. I see them and I want to fix them. Not the Sundew way, which is setting hives on fire, but but some way that will actually make a difference and make things better for other dragons. So it was definitely influenced by everything going on in the world, not any specific person, but trying to pull together part of Blue and part of Sundew to make a character that I connected to, but also that feeling of well, how do I do it? What can I do to make the world a better place? Right, especially because she's not a warrior either. She's still a Silkwing. She's not someone who fights other dragons. She has to sort of figure out well, what can I do that will make a difference? So that was a long-winded answer.
Well, I couldn't help but think Luna was an ally I would want in my life. We all need in our life. I also couldn't help but notice in this book too the dedication. Mm-hmm. So in the dedication you wrote, for Steve Malk, who first said, "What do you think about dragons?" and made all of this happen. I'm so grateful.
Yeah.
Could you tell us a bit about that backstory?
Sure. Well, that's my agent. Steve Malk is my agent, and I started working with him ages and ages ago when my first books came out, and so I kept sending him ideas. I'm always like, how about this? How about this? How about this? And we had been talking one day, and he said to me, what do you think about dragons? Have you ever thought about a series about dragons? And I got so excited because I was like, I love dragons. Who doesn't love dragons? Dragons are amazing. And that got me started thinking well, what if it was 5 books? What would the world be like? What kinds of dragons could I have? What could if I'm playing with the tropes of epic fantasy, there should be a prophecy, right? But what if it's a fake prophecy? Spoilers for anyone who hasn't gotten to book 4, but I think it's been out long enough. Maybe I can tell you that. But so dealing with that question, and it just got me all excited to start thinking about the kinds of characters that I love to write, but as dragons who can set things on fire if they need to. Yeah. So that's basically how it started. Was just that one sentence from Steve.
Well, a big thank you to Steve, right? The reason we're all here today. Well, as if Wings of Fire could be even more popular, the first 5 books, and soon to be 6th, have been adapted to graphic novel format. And I think this has reignited, the love for these books, both fans old and new. And I think, so wonderfully, fans of the graphic novel genre have been encouraged to pick up your novels. Could you talk a little bit about the adaptation process? How do you pick what content goes into the graphic novels?
Sure. Well, that last part of the question is the funniest because the person who does the adapting for me, who actually writes the manuscript, then I get, his name is Barry, and he writes a series called Hereville, which is wonderful. If anyone's interested, they're these great graphic novels. But so he goes through the actual books and writes out a manuscript, and then I get a copy of that, and I try to add all my dialogue back in. I'm like, nope, every single word is critically important. And he's like, oh, okay, Tui, they're not all going to fit in the bubbles, though. There's these tiny little bubbles to fit all of Kinkajou's words in. And in fact, specifically Kinkajou, we did have to add a couple of pages to book 3 because, he's responsibly trying to fit Kinkajou on a page. And I was like, Kinkajou is too big for a page. She has so much to say, and it's part of her character. So we added some extra pages just for Kinkajou dialogue, basically. But it's been amazing. It's been this really fun process. I was pretty excited when Scholastic suggested the idea of doing these graphic novels because I just wanted to see like the whole world come to life. And there are all these specific, like I wanted to see the summer palace of the sea wings, and I wanted to see the rainforest. I wanted to have a book full of sloths. So that's what book 3 is. And so, yeah, it's been amazing. And also to see how many more people are involved, right? Like, because with the novels, it's just me alone in my room in the middle of the night. So, because I'm a night owl. And so now it's like, you know, Barry does the adaptation, and then I edit it, and then it goes to Mike, who does the sketches and then the black and white art, and then another person, Marta, comes in and does the color, which is so cool and so impressive. Like I just love watching like the art come in and be like, oh, they got it exactly right, and I love this face, and I love this face, and it's so it's been a really exciting process. Yeah, and book 6 is coming in December, I think. So. Hopefully we'll keep going because I want to see the poison jungle. That's what I really want to see. All the giant like dragon Venus flytraps.
Oh, I see a lot of friends agreeing with that too. Are you able to share if there are plans to adapt this series even further beyond graphic novels, maybe like an animated series?
Oh, that's the dream, right? I mean, hopefully. So it's interesting because it's been this like, you know, I'm someone who's really fascinated by how TV shows get made. Like I read a lot of sort of like behind the scenes of TV articles and books. And so when we did sell the rights to Warner Brothers to make a TV show with Ava DuVernay attached, and she's amazing. So I was very excited about that. But even then, I was like, is this really going to happen? Like, it takes a lot of people and a lot of work to make a TV show. So I've been saying for years, like, it's like a 100-step process. And for a long time, we were on step 2. And I think we got as far as like step 20. Like, we were actually seeing art and scripts were being written, and it was going to be on Netflix. And then Netflix like canceled a bunch of shows. So sorry, don't get excited yet. But the Warner Brothers still has the rights, and we still are very excited about the idea. So we're hoping that we'll find another home for it. We just need to find the right like streamer, the right television place to do a show, because the art was so cool, you guys. I wish you could see the art that they had done, and the scripts were really exciting too. So fingers crossed, hopefully one day.
Well, as if Tui could be even cooler than she is, something that I was like so excited to learn about you is that you were a 2-day Jeopardy champion.
Yes.
And I was just curious, if Jeopardy came to you and asked you to write a Wings of Fire category for them, what would you name that category?
Oh my gosh, that is a great question. Wings of Knowledge, I like that. That's awesome, whoever said that. What? Dragons of Pyria, yeah. Ooh, that would be, you'd have to find the like specific fans. Otherwise, I bet you'd get a bunch of grown-ups up there like, what? It would be best for like, don't they have Kid Jeopardy? They do have Kid Jeopardy, right? Oh my God.
I was gonna follow up if it would be like a Jeopardy first round or if it would be a double Jeopardy round. But I like Kids Jeopardy, that's a really good idea.
Yeah, Kids Jeopardy double Jeopardy round. That's my vote. Oh my God, that would be so cool.
Well, Tui, I know that you have a lot of excited fans here who have a lot of questions of their own. Do you mind if we turn it over to some student questions now, or audience questions?
No, I would love that. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
We have to form a line, but we won't be able to get that far. So
Should we begin on this side?
Sure.
Yeah.
So first thing I would like to say is my friend right here named Maddie, who introduced me to this series. I'm very grateful of that. And my question is, in this book, it tells us about the Icewing Society, and I'm just wondering how you came up with that beautiful sort of understanding of that world.
Oh, thank you. What a great question. It was really fun to figure out the Icewings, actually, because I hadn't gotten there yet. And I feel like that's something that, like, over the course of writing all the books, I got to sort of expand on each of the like kingdoms a little bit more and get into what it's like to be that specific kind of dragon. And the Icewings was really fun because with some of them, I went into it actually sort of from a parenting perspective, you know, like the Sea Wings Queen Coral is very like a helicopter mom, like very on top of her kids, whereas the Ice Wings are a little more tiger mom, I guess you could say. Like they're very authoritative and very ambitious for their children, and you have to live up to certain standards. And so I was like, how can I take that parenting style and apply it to the whole society? And so that's kind of where I started thinking about those.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hello, my name is Madison. So first of all, I'm really thrilled to be here. Second of all, I just have a question about the 5th book. You know the Eye of Onyx? They said the prophecy is fake in the 4th book. But on the back of the Eye of Onyx, it says Wings of Fire. And I just wonder, is that just coincidental, or how is that?
Good question. Well, so it doesn't say it like in words, wings of fire, but it has those wings, right? The onyx, it's like a ball of onyx with like little wings that kind of glow coming off the side of it. So I was trying to play with the idea of like, so you're given a prophecy, you're told you have to save the world, and then you find out it's not true and they made it up, and like you're like, hopefully if you're Sunny, you're like, I'm gonna save the world anyway, because we need a lot of people to do that. So and then you get there and it's like, wait, maybe it was destiny, right? There's this like, there is something to the prophecy. I mean, Moro Seer, very possibly, because he'd spent so much time off of the island, maybe he had picked up some like powers from the moons and actually did have a little bit of truth in his prophecy. I wanted to leave that as a sort of question, like up in the air, that like, was it, because I love the question of like how much of our lives is free will and how much is destiny, and like, I really feel like most of it is free will, but I like the idea that there was like a little hint of destiny magic.
I love that.
Oh, thank you. What a good question.
Hi, I'm Maddie. I've been here. I've been a Wings of Fire fan wing for about 8 years.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely obsessed. But sorry, at the end of Dragon Slayer, the Invincible Lord wants Ren, and he wants to be able to control the girl who can control dragons. Are you going to pick up somewhere along that line?
That's such a good question. I did. I actually, when I sent the manuscript to my editor, she was like, "Tui, what are you doing? Now I need another book." I was like, "I know." I guess I felt I did want to leave it with a little bit of a question mark, like what is going to happen with them, and I would love to write another Legends book of like what happened sort of between Dragon Slayer and book 15, because I have some ideas about Bandit, the scavenger that you meet in book 6, and how he ties into everything, and then so no promises yet, but I definitely wrote that epilogue with the idea that like of course they're still in danger, of course there's still something else to do with them. So
Thank you.
yeah, good question.
I'm an 11-year-old writer, and you inspire me to write. Like, I started writing in October, like, last year, because I read your book series. I just have a question when it comes to writing books. How do you add depth into the story? Like, how do you make people, like, feel, like, sad or happy or, like, feel bad for the character or, like, have like emotions, like the book makes you feel like strong emotions?
Oh, that's such a good question. I think I'll often rewrite a scene until I feel like that the emotion that I'm going for, when I read it. Like if I'm bored reading a book, then I know that my readers will be too. So I have to go back, and I'm trying to think of like a specific example. I think often, so for a lot of the characters, you might notice, I like to do flashbacks to their childhood and show you something that happened to them that was like particularly like powerful or traumatic, right? Like poor Turtle and in Ghibli, what happened to them, so that you are kind of seeing them nowadays, but you have this understanding of where they came from, of like something that happened to them in the past and like why they act the way they do. So, Turtle may seem like someone who's like, I don't want to save the world, I just want to hide under a rock. But you kind of understand why, right? And it gives you this like sense of sadness for him. I don't know, and I think so I think that's one example. I would say it's like getting into the like as much as you can understand about their history and their family. I think the more depth you have to that character, Does that answer the question, sort of?
Yes, and also I just want to say first, your novel series was the first ever like novels I ever read, and they inspire me so much. Like, you're my role model.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, good luck with your writing.
Thank
I mean,
you.
I always say also, like, I love fanfic. I love, like, if anyone wants to come write in this world, like, please feel free, because I think it's a great way to get started as a writer, is to, like, find something you already love and, like, write into that.
Hello. So I do some writing in my free time and stuff, and I think writing is a very interesting topic that I don't really know a lot of people who do write. So what was your idea, and what was your motivation to become an author?
Ooh, great question. I think I always wanted to be an author. Like, I've found stuff that I wrote when I was like 5 years old, and that where I was like planning on being an author. I think it was a few things. I remember when I was like 6, I was like, an author is like the perfect level of famous, because like you can be famous but nobody will recognize you. And then the internet came along and ruined my plan. So. But also, you know, I knew I wanted a job where I could use my imagination every day, and work in my pajamas, and hang out with my dog all the time. So those were like key parts of wanting to become an author. Yeah.
Thank you. I've
Yeah,
been a
you're
really big
welcome.
fan for like a year and a half.
Oh, thank you. Good luck with your writing.
So I just have to say, are you gonna make books 16 through 20?
Ooh, another good question. I don't know the answer to that yet. Thank you, guys. I'm trying to wrap my head around what it would be. Like, I want to make sure before I jump into it that I have kind of an idea that like encompasses like the number of books I'd want to write, and have the characters in my head. I mean, there's a lot of things I haven't gotten to do yet in the world. Like, I definitely want Sky and Peril to meet each other. I want to get back to poor Umber, right? So I feel like there's things I haven't gotten to that I really would like to. So I don't know yet about 16 through 20, but I don't think you've seen the end of Wings of Fire. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. My editor's like, can you get that in writing? Can you?
I'm newer to the fandom. My friend Maddie and Alexandra introduced me like during mid-COVID.
Oh, wow.
So I'm not completely done with the series, but I really, really like it. And I love the representation you managed to squeeze in every single book, especially with Anemone and Tamarin, and especially because Tamarin is blind, that must be really challenging. But also, you mentioned the first 3 characters you had a sense of idea. Who were those? And do we see them in the books?
Oh, like right when I first started writing the books. I think so. It was the 5 Dragonettes, but definitely Clay was one of the first that came to me, and Glory, and maybe Sunny was 3rd. But I think Sunny, Tsunami, and Starflight like all kind of arrived simultaneously. I'm pretty sure, because I was thinking about different reactions to the prophecy, and like who would say like, yes, I definitely want to go save the world, and who would be like, excuse me, I'm the boss of my own destiny, and that's Tsunami, and who would be like, I need the saving the world part of the library, and that's Starflight. So yeah, so it's kind of, but I think Clay was probably the first that I was like came into my head really clearly.
Thank you.
Sure.
My name is Jacob, and I was just wondering what your favorite type of dragon is.
Ooh. I think if I could choose, I'd want to be a rainwing, because I want a pet sloth.
I would also choose rainwing.
But they're all really fun to ride. I love riding the sea wings and like going under and then the ice wings was, I don't think I'd want to be an ice wing, but I loved riding the ice wings and the leaf wings too. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Hi.
Hi.
Can I ask 2 questions?
Maybe if they're quick.
All right. First off, right before you were gonna start writing the books, like how did your writing style? How did that get inspired?
I guess I was thinking about other fantasy I'd read and wanting to do like some of the really cool, like twisty, exciting stuff that happens in fantasy, but with a sense of humor and like more conversational dialogue than some of the other books I'd read. So I was thinking about taking just the kind of books that I like to read and like applying it to like this sort of big dragon fantasy. That kind of answer that?
Yeah. All right. If you had to kill one dragon in the series, who would it be?
Oh no, poor Winter. I mean, I feel like I've killed off a lot of the dragons I really didn't like already. I don't know if well, I mean, Queen Wasp, like, I left her alive, I think, but I don't know that, I mean, I don't like her. I don't want to
You
hang out
just
with her.
spoiled the 15th book. Thank you.
Oh, sorry.
Oh no!
I feel like most of you have read it, so.
Hi, I am Alex Schneider. And I actually have two questions.
One question, guys.
The one I kind of wanted to ask the most, it is not about Wings of Fire, but where did you get your information for, or the book you wrote, Who Was Harry Houdini?
Oh, wow. That was such a long time ago. What a good question. You know, I barely remember. I got some, like, adult biographies of him so that I could sort of condense it down, because it was, you know, it's a book for, like, kids who are just starting to learn about Harry Houdini. So I don't remember the exact titles. I'm sorry. I could probably look it up back home on my computer. But yeah, that was sort of how I did some research by reading, like, other biographies of him.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I really like how there's like a guide to all the tribes at the beginning of each book. Like, how did you decide what each dragon would look like?
Oh, that was really a lot to do with our artist, Joy Ang, the one who does all the books. Oh my gosh, she's amazing. And I feel like every new cover, I'm like, oh no, this one's my favorite. They're all so beautiful. I think I just sent in some notes, like what had inspired each of the dragons. Like Mudwings are sort of inspired by crocodiles, and like the Rainwings have the prehensile tail and can change their scales like chameleons. And then she sent in some like sketches, and I was like, oh, this is all amazing, yes. Perfect. Especially when we got to the Silk Wings, the Hive Wings, and the Leaf Wings. When she sent those in, like I literally had no comments. I just thought they were ideal. So I think that's, yeah.
Thank you.
Sure, thank you. And actually there's a guide to the whole world coming out next year sometime that's gonna have like even more of that kind of information. Which, yeah, I'm excited for you guys to read it. It has like a lot of the stories that have been hinted at in the books, like about what happened to the Mudwings when they didn't have an heir, and like how the Rainwings got the way they are. There's a story like written by Kinkajou, so it's a lot of it's a collection of stuff. There's a song in it. There's a song that my like husband helped me write. So, anyway, there's that. That's coming eventually. Yes.
My name is Celine, and my question is not about Wings of Fire, but how did you get the inspiration to work with 3 other people under the pin name Aaron Hunter to write the book series Warriors?
Sure. No, good question. So actually, Warriors started with one author named Vicky. And I was an editor at the time, so I actually worked at a publishing house where I got to read books all day. Best job ever. And it's really fun. And so one of my projects that I got to work on was Warriors, and so Vicky would send me an outline, and then we would work together on like making it as perfect as it could be. And then she had 2 authors who would take turns writing the books, Kate and Cherith. And I had actually been working on that for like 15 books, I think, when I left editing and became a full-time writer. And so as I like left my job, I was like, good luck, here's the new editor for Warriors. And Vicky said to me, I feel like we could use another Aaron Hunter, and you know the books better than anybody. Do you want to try out being an Aaron Hunter with us? And so it was her offer like that got me into writing them. So I got to do 1 like Warriors field guide and then 3 of the Seekers books. Before I got busy with things like Wings of Fire. But it was so much fun, like to get to work on those and to get to meet Vicky and be involved in that whole process from the beginning. So, yeah.
I think think we have time for about one more question.
Oh no.
My name is Nikhil, and I have to ask you a question. When you were just started creating these wonderful, wonderful books, what were your ideas other than Wings of Fire? I mean, you must have some different prototype ideas, right?
Do you mean like for the title, or do you mean for like the kinds of dragons, or for like the story at all?
No, like different book ideas, like somewhat like zombie apocalypse, something like that.
Good question. I do have like other ideas that I'm hoping I'll still get to write one day. I have an idea for a graphic novel that I'm trying to like actually get a full manuscript written. That has humans in it, so weird. and then it's sort of hard to describe my ideas until they're like fully formed. But you know, while I was working on Wings of Fire, I was also writing the Menagerie books with my sister, which have like lots of other mythical creatures in them. So that was really fun because I got to like get all my dragons in Wings of Fire and then like play with phoenixes and griffins in the Menagerie books. So. Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't have a more specific answer, but hopefully one day there'll be more books besides Wings of Fire, and you'll get to see all my other ideas. Thank you.
Well, we're on this side now, and I think, are we just last question right now?
Last question?
I think we have time for one more quick one.
Okay.
And let's remind them, will you be signing later?
Yeah, definitely.
We'll talk about that after the last question.
Okay.
Last question.
My name is Amelia, and my question is, you know that the Rainwings you created had venom? If they had venom, why weren't they like a fighting tribe? If you gave them venom, why did they not use it? Just use it to find family members?
Yeah, it's such a good question, and actually that's the kind of question I love, because it makes you think about like everything that came before. Like, why are the Rainwings the way they are now? And there's a hint of this in the guide that I was talking about, that especially because the book Darkstalker actually talks about the Rainwings as being like a much more fierce tribe back in his day, and they've changed over the years, right? And so the hint is that that things happened to the Rainwing tribe over time that made them choose to be peaceful, that made them decide that that they didn't want to be involved in any more wars. They didn't want to be like fierce killer dragons. And so it's kind of a choice that they've made over time to sort of go live in the rainforest and just be happy and not fight with people, which I think is, you know, what most of us would like to do, actually. So yeah, so that's kind of why. Like they still have their venom, but they feel like they would prefer not to use it. Like they don't want to be as like scary and dangerous as they could be. Does that help? Does that answer the question?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you, Tui, for being here with us today. This was so wonderful.
Thank you, guys. I'm so sorry.